Hello and welcome once again. Today we will be looking at ground covers in this module. Ground covers are very low growing plants used in place of turfs. They fill in bare spots and prevent erosion of the soil. Ground covers fill in shady areas where other plants have difficulty growing. There are many types of ground covers. Most ground covers are perennials. As we said, perennials are plants that come back every year. Three principal types of ground covers you can find out there are the broadleaf evergreen ground covers. We discussed that. Deciduous ground covers, narrowleaf evergreen ground covers. Ground covers can be used in areas where the soil is not suitable for growing grass. For example, a steep slope is a perfect location for ground covers. Rocky areas, you have beautiful ground covers that can grow in between. It also can give flowers and different texture to your landscape. Shaded areas, such as under a tree or in the woodland area. Shallow soil, and areas where erosion is taking place. Ground covers are very useful in those areas. Sometimes ground covers are simply used for their beauty. So they grow relatively slow, they're attractive in the foreground of your planting. Some folks would like to use ground covers because they do not have to use mulch. So the ground covers takes the place of mulching, helps to keep the soil cool and shade the roots of certain plants such as the rhododendron plants. When you come to selecting your ground cover, you want to have a questionnaire. You ask yourself, in what type of soil does the plant grow best? How is this plant propagated? What is the mature height of the ground cover? How expensive are the plants? Is the ground cover to serve as a specific role in the landscape? There will be many more questions to ask as you are going about to select a specific plant you want for your ground cover in the landscape. Types of ground cover. Ground covers differ based on your soil type, moisture conditions in the soil, the amount of light they require. So when you go to select a plant, you want to make sure you select a ground cover that is very attractive for the season you're working with. There are so many factors and criteria to take into consideration when selecting a ground cover. Planting ground covers. When planting ground covers, you want to consider any special problems in the area, such as steep slopes, and if there are tilling to be done, whether you have to add organic matter to help the soil. Make sure you consider every special problem in the area of your landscape before planting ground covers. Ground covers plants are also very special when it comes to spacing. On steep slopes, you may need to cover more area quickly. On more level grounds, the plants may be spaced further apart. Remember, water well after planting to settle the plant into the soil around the root system. Fertilizing. After the initial application, apply only as needed. This should be done in the early spring. After ground covers are established, further soil cultivation is not necessary. You want to mulch in between your newly positioned plant until it has had time to mat together to create its own ground cover of mulching. Pruning. When pruning ground covers, you only want to prune areas in which it is desired. Using a mower, you want to give it a nice edging or cutting back in perimeters where it is on the outer side of the landscape so it will not take over your landscape. Be very selective in pruning ground covers. Watering. Water as needed during the first year. Anytime the soil becomes dry or plant starts to wilt, apply at least 1 inch of water to the entire planting area. If the proper plants are selected, watering should not be necessary after the first year. They do take good care of themselves. Caring for ground covers. Controlling insects and diseases. Rarely is this a problem with ground covers. If control becomes necessary, identify the disease or insect immediately and spray with a recommended pesticide. Use protective clothing as required by law. Ground covers, in summary, are plants that cover the area in place of turf, grass, or your lawn. They have landscape value in special settings. We discussed the different types of ground covers that are broadleaf evergreens, deciduous, and narrowleaf evergreens. Ground covers add values to the landscape with additional flower, color, foliage, and height. I hope you've enjoyed this module on learning all about ground covers. Hope to see you next time. Goodbye.